So the next service is outcome management. So we've seen that with basic outcome, you can actually report a single grade into the host gradebook. And that's fine if what you're linking here is something like a test. But what if the link is actually to a more complex resource, like for example an ebook? In an ebook, you might have multiple tests. Test 1, test 2, test 3. So now you have one link here. And this link now has multiple activities. The scheme of actually having a single result would require you to compute on the ebook side the final grade for the ebook, which might be something you might want to do, but actually you might also want to expose those assignments back there directly into the host gradebook. Another approach to that is that you might have multiple links to your ebook. And when you're linking from this link, you might actually take this test here. So it becomes harder to know that a given link is associated to a given result. So that's the kind of issue that outcome management is trying to address by giving deeper access to the tool provider on the host gradebook. One thing it cannot do, though, is give access to the full gradebook, because there are many privacy issues, obviously. And so what we want is that the tool provider can only see and manipulate a filtered view of the gradebook that it owns. So that's basically we have a sandboxed view of the gradebook. And how does the sandbox work? You remember every tool provider has a key identifying the tool consumer. So basically now the key that is passed on every service request is used to filter what this tool provider can see. So now a little bit of terminology. So how do we call traditionally what we see as a column in a gradebook is called a line item. And a line item has a label as points possible. Now a line item is going to contain result. And those results we've seen before. Now results can be point based. And also they have a status. And what is the status? Is that if the activity is started, completed, finalized. So basically it allows the tool provider to give a little bit more information on the host gradebook about where the student stands against a given activity. So now you can have 4 kinds of URLs that can be passed to you. The line item URL. So the line items URL is actually basically the gradebook container. It lets you access to all the line items that belongs to your tool provider, and it lets you also create new line items and delete ones. So then you have a given line item. If there is a line item associated with this link, pass it directly to me on lunch. And the same way, you can also ask for result URL. And this is relying on the capability to auto-create a result on first lunch for a given user, which is a similar behavior to what we've seen with basic outcome, which means that when you launch a single activity which is associated to a line item, a user, you're going to create a result URL to get the result back. And finally, you have the results URL, which is a container of all the results for a given line item. So if you want in terms of hierarchy, it could be something like that. You have the line item, line items, which is a container, has line item. A line item has a results, has a set of results, a results container, which contains a bunch of results. So that's the rich outcome. And with rich outcome now, you can really have much richer integration with the gradebook, adding column, removing column, setting grades, querying for all the grades and stuff like that. And still again, all of limited to your own data. You cannot see someone else's data. So we can have a look at the specification You see here they are still in public draft at the time of this recording. So we see here that in terms of representation, we have the line item container, then we have the single line item, and you see we have the line item and we have the line item results. So those are the same representation, but the line item is just going to contain a reference to the result container, for which you might, if you want, get access to all the results. And that's useful if you want to get some information just about the line item. But if you want to get information with the line item, including in one single request all the results, then you ask for representation that contains the results embedded into the line item. So the result container is just all the results for a single line item, and then the result itself. And those are the two kinds of services. And we can see here, the capabilities. Line items URL, line item URL, and we would see the same one for results. So that's the rich outcome. And it's going to be very useful when your tool provider is a more complex experience than just a single activity.